Hey gang, it's been a spell. Yeah, I just thought I'd come on here today and talk a little bit about maybe the new Helix Stadium and just the stuff that I was jamming out with here at the beginning of the video. Yeah, I've been looking at the new Helix Stadium and all of the new features and stuff that come with it. And to be honest with you, I'm just not that interested in all this extra stuff that they're doing. I mean, you know me, if you've watched my channel at all, you know I've been a long time Helix floorboard user, going on 8 years plus now. And I really haven't changed my setup in quite a while. I think consistency when you're going out live is super important. It makes it a lot easier on your sound guy. But I'm checking out the new stuff, on the Helix Stadium, the new Agora modeling. I mean, I think it's safe to say, and it's kind of a given that the new stuff is just going to sound way better than the old stuff. I think they're definitely going after fractal on this stuff, with a price point of 2,200 bucks US. It's cool. You can capture idealized amplifier tones with the hype knob, and that's kind of cool, like the make it sound good button. The convenience thing of this digital technology is obviously amazing. But as far as like the controlling your lights and controlling tracks, I like to play live and I like to do my own changes and switches, and I like to feel inspired by the music that I'm playing. And if for me personally, if everything is on a grid, and all my changes are being done for me and there's no room at all for improvisation, to me, that's not live music. My wife and I went out just last week and watched Trace Atkins and Travis Tritt play down at a casino, and they were absolutely incredible. And that's actually one thing that Travis Tritt said when he was playing, is that him and Trace Atkins, they don't use any tracks. It's live, and letting it all hang out there. It's the real deal. You come out to see a live show, and that's what you get. And they were absolutely fantastic, and that I really jive with that spirit of things. So that being said, like, I'm probably going to be sticking with my Helix floor for quite some time. The I'm so used to the interface with the Helix floorboard. I really don't see anything wrong with it. It works out great for me. I don't have a big wardrobe of tube amps to clone with their new cloud-based cloning engine, Proxy. So that's something that really doesn't appeal to me. And, like I said, touchscreen thing, I don't really care for. Yeah, the floorboard is kind of heavy compared to the new one. That's cool. They streamlined it down. The floorboard is heavy, so I get that. But actually, I was thinking about, like, well, what do you actually really, really need? What do you really need? What should you be spending your money on? Because we did a gig yesterday, and it was an experience, but that is neither here nor there. We played great and everything, but the venue and just whatever, they tried to renegotiate terms of our contract, and it was a whole big thing. You play long enough, you're going to run into this sort of stuff. But all my stuff was set up at the show, and I ended up coming back home for the afternoon because we weren't playing till that evening, and I didn't have anything here to jam through. So, but I still wanted to kind of mess around with some stuff, so I was digging through all my old totes and gear back in my little storage room back here, and I pulled out something, and that's what I was jamming with at the beginning of the video, and I think it sounds really good. It's a hold it up here if I don't pull my cords out. It's a Zoom G2R. It's the Richie Kotzen model, but all the sounds I've been using you could get with the standard old Zoom G2. I think I ended up dialing in the Mesa Boogie model that they have in here, and I just threw everything on there. There's a compressor on there, a boost in the front, a tiny hint of chorus, some delay, and hall reverb. And I think it just sounds awesome. So if you're just going to be jamming out at home, like there's tons of great free plugins out there. You can pick up, I just happened, I looked it up too before this video. You can pick up a Zoom G2, a used one, all day long for 30 bucks. I mean, as long as it's in good shape, these things are great. And this digital stuff, it lasts forever. You know, most of these people I would think that bought this even back in the day probably didn't gig with them. You know, a lot of them probably just sat, around, somebody's house, 30, 40 bucks, maybe 50, find them on Musician's Friend or Guitar Center or whatever, used all day long. It's crazy. So yeah, you can get super awesome tones for really basically no money. I bought this one brand new. And if you want a real treat, go back to the old Richie Kotzen rig rundown. I think it was Guitar World or something like that, interviewed him back when he was endorsed by Zoom and had the G2R as part of his rig. That's back when he had the long hair and he was playing his Cornford amps. If you want a great laugh, just go back and watch that rig rundown. He is fucking hilarious. So I highly, highly recommend it. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. That's just my little 2 cents on the Helix Stadium. Super impressive stuff. I don't know if it's for me. I'm going to stick with my Helix floor as long as it works. I might actually buy a Helix LT or something like that, just as a backup, just in case my floorboard goes down. But this used to be my old backup, this G2. When I first got my Helix, I would just throw that in my gig bag. Since then, this has been replaced by the Pod Express, which gets me a lot closer to the sounds that I actually use with my Helix floor. But anyway, it's a great unit. I mean, I'm running this straight into my Roland Go Mixer Pro X and straight into my phone. And that's all you're hearing. There's no post EQ or compressor or anything like that going on after the fact. It's just what you see is what you get. This is warts and all. It's what it sounds like. So anyway, yeah, thanks for tuning in. Give me a like and a subscribe if you enjoy what you heard and what you saw, and if you think I'm entertaining at all and you want to see more content. Thanks again. Take it easy, guys.